This Thursday night props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBet. WynnBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBet has what you need to win. Sign today, bet $100 and get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. We're also brought to you by the SGPN Bowl Challenge. $250 cash and a $250 gift card is up for grabs exclusively on the SGPN app.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green, with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
We made it, Sean. We made it, even though there was ice in Los Angeles. There was ice on the plane in Los Angeles, and they told us we had to wait for the sun to take care of the problem. We made it. We're here on time. Let's go.
Yeah, it is always scary when the airline says something like, "We need the sun for the plane to take off." Not really comforting, but we're here. We're doing it live here at the Blue Wire Studios at the beautiful Wynn in Las Vegas. Joining us here to talk Thursday night props, Thursday night football. You know him from WynnBet, Mr. Joe Fann. What's happening, Joe?
Fellas, how we doing? Good to be back. Good to see you guys again here in Vegas. Another just day trip, in and out.
Have you been enjoying the prize liquid? From the Seahawks when they looked good, when they were playing defense over the New York Giants.
Clarify that it was you sent him a liquor. You sent him a bottle of liquor. Prize liquid, just, you know our audience, Ryan.
Yeah, so we had a bet. I signed a bottle of booze. I sent it to Joe when the Seahawks beat the Giants. I'm hoping he's enjoying it, even though the Seahawks season is heading in the same direction as the Giants.
Yeah, it's one of those where you see 10-yard run after 10-yard run, no matter who they're playing, and you say, okay, it's time for a glass of Jefferson's Ocean. and that's where it goes. So shockingly, there is still some left, even though this this last month of Seahawks football has been heinous. But I'm excited to talk to you guys about this one because I need you guys to level me out here on what my expectations are for this game on Thursday.
Well, it's certainly an interesting spot. I mean, and the line keeps jumping 3.5 over on WynnBet. It is weird to be in a world where Brock Purdy is all of a sudden going to be a 3.5-point road favorite or 3-point road favorite in a division game. But then you look at the other side and you go, how can you take Seattle with the way their defense has been playing? I mean, Joe, walk us through it, because as someone who's been betting on Seattle, they've won me some money. They've killed me other weeks. The defense seemed horrible at the beginning. Then there was a middle patch where the defense was playing well, and then it went back to falling apart. Is it
like not just stuff? Well? They had a month of where they're the best defense in football.
Like they held the Cardinals to single digits. Like they were playing
Do we
out
maybe
of their mind.
Just evaluate the teams they were playing? I mean, as much as I love my Giants, they were one of those teams.
They were able to somehow shut down Daniel Jones.
And the Chargers.
Yes.
Without Keenan Allen or Mike Williams. You would see, by that logic, I mean, the Carolina Panthers, what you would say are worse than
and DJ Moore was
all those teams. Yeah. So,
it's like, the Panthers came in. You knew, okay, how did the Panthers beat us? Well, they beat us by running the ball. And then how did they beat us? They just ran the ball.
The regression has been immense. It does make it sort of inexplicable how it was possible they played 4 weeks of competent football defensively. You have Gino Smith. The turnover-worthy plays are up. I think he's trying to play a bit of hero ball. Understandably so. They've got no running game. The offensive line is regressing just as bad as the defensive line. They are getting whipped in the trenches comprehensively each and every game. So, they're a hard team to watch right now. And even, I don't care if it's Josh Johnson if Brock Purdy can't go. I don't care if it's a banged-up Brock Purdy. I don't care that Deebo Samuel's out. I can't fathom how this line is only -3 or 3.5. I get that it's juiced to the Niners at -120 when it's at 3. But when you look at what that defense did to the Seahawks in week 2 in San Francisco, why would things be any different this time around, especially given what we've seen from the Seahawks offensive line the last month?
Oh, flowchart. Kyle Shanahan versus Pete Carroll. I guess that's the handicap.
Yeah, I mean, there is the trend of,
but I mean, I agree with everything else you said.
Let's get to it. Let's start breaking down some of these props. Before we do that, shout out, of course, to the great WynnBet, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. Head over there, sign up today. So many great WynnBet states. Maybe you're visiting a WynnBet state over the holidays. Perfect time to sign up, get involved. I mean, you're going to be sitting around with family and friends. What better way to get distracted than by getting down your phone, spinning that parlay wheel? I love the parlay wheel. Favorite part of the WynnBet betting app. And, of course, bet $100, get a $100 free bet. And what else do they got going on? Oh, I mean, division odds, future odds. There really is a ton of stuff to get down on over at Sports Gambling.
We got Saturday games coming up.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I mean, all day Saturday and all day Sunday, Thursday, tons of bowl games on Friday. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBet is available. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
I was going to save this for the pick show, Sean, but there is a chance that I'm left to my own devices this weekend and will be consuming football all weekend long. No youth sports potentially on Saturday.
Oh, man, that is amazing.
Real quick, before we get into props, can you guys can you give me an outcome outside of the flowchart explanation, which to me is really the only one? It's a divisional game. It's Thursdays. The Niners are on the road. The Seahawks have had their number. Outside of those narratives and trends, how do the Seahawks win this game?
I think the way the Seahawks would win this game is, one, bringing whether it's Josh Johnson or Brock Purdy, bringing him some stuff he hasn't seen. I mean, again, like the Bucs played a pretty vanilla defense. Their offensive line played well. You got to be able to get pressure on him. You got to bring some sort of crazy blitz and stuff like that to force him into a turnover. I mean, there's a reason he was the last drafted guy in the NFL. You have to make him Mr. Irrelevant. You have to figure out why no one in the NFL wanted him and exploit that on Thursday night, because that's really your only path.
I mean, he's been comfortable. He's been up. He's been running things in system. He hasn't had to do anything. That's the answer. So a little bit of discomfort because Pete Carroll, rah-rah, back against the wall. We got to win it. Our playoffs start now. I mean, how many times have you watched that beautiful, beautiful documentary the NFL puts out about the Super Bowl winner? And it's been some team where it's like week 14, week 15, the playoffs started now, and that's when we got together, and that's the narrative. Well, and sometimes football is about that gladiator bullshit. And if you're telling me there's a gladiator match between flat brim Kyle Shanahan and he doesn't get John Lynch's help at all, no welcome mat tag team, versus Pete Carroll, give me Pete Carroll all day. I mean, that's the angle. That's the only angle. It's in Seattle. That's the only reason the angle works.
Joe is still really skeptical.
Joe is a realist.
Just having watched both of these teams for the last month, but we see that all the time. We see this. How on earth is this game close? So it's going to be some fluky stuff where every bounce sort of goes Seattle's way, and all of a sudden it's the fourth quarter and the Seahawks are tied. That's
ugly the game up. And motivation-wise, like Seattle, to Ryan's point, are playing for their playoff lives. In a weird way, the 49ers, after that win, coupled with the Seattle loss, like, do they – I mean, they want to win the game, obviously.
They win the division if they win this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that is their motivation.
What scares me is that people are betting – the Seahawks the same way they were betting the Bucs last week. And that's the area where it's like, well,
really?
I
assumed everyone, the entire betting public, would be on the 49ers.
Enough public and smart people were not. They were on the Bucs. This was not a lot. It wasn't a crazy landslide game. And this week it's the same. We're looking at a fairly, I mean, honestly, the profile looks a little bit like San Francisco will be the public donkey team, but I think last week they looked like that in the market at the end of the day. So I don't know if it's wrong.
The Niners have been my only reliable source of betting income the last month. They're 4-0 against the spread, and they haven't made you sweat anything.
No, the defense is lights out right now. And so if the story would be if they can play a game that's negative, if the Seahawks can force them into a negative game script, what happens? But to your point, that's it's probably not reflective in the money line because it's only a 180, 190. So I don't know.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy is dealing with that oblique rib injury, so maybe
he won't run as much. Maybe he won't be as Brock hard.
Be a little
Nice.
little flaccid Brock. I think that's the formula for them getting it done. It's interesting when we look at the props. I think there's a world where you can kind of bet some of this stuff that's out right now, and even avoid picking a side, or even like there's a couple. At least for me, there's a couple of bets I found that I liked, regardless of who starts at quarterback, or kind of regardless of game flow, or who ends up winning. For me, my first prop is give me Kyle Juszczyk over 6.5 receiving yards. It's right up there with the
System
DJ
play.
bets.
System play.
Past 2 games, he's had 7 and 12 yards. Whether it's going to be Brock Purdy or Josh Johnson, you need to give a quarterback easy stuff. And that little flat route he runs, it's just so easy for him to get that. And I don't think I don't think Seattle has the linebackers to handle it. I'm going to talk about it more when we talk Christian McCaffrey, but Seattle is 3rd in the league in receiving yards allowed to the running back. Now, they don't have stats for receiving yards allowed to the fullback, but I imagine it's a similar trend. Love Juszczyk over 6.5 receiving yards. Kramer, what do you got for props?
He is a running back. Fullbacks are running backs too, and in some cases,
That's a new shirt.
In some cases, they are featured better than the running back. Not in this case. Unfortunately, I think Christian McCaffrey throws a wrench in that. All right, so I wanted to find the way to play Christian McCaffrey without seeming like a complete donkey. His total yards is 121.5. It feels like a decent bet. I don't care how the game script goes. I think he gets there. But I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey, longest rush over 17.5 yards. This Seattle defense has been very leaky, and they've been leaky in ways that they're giving up big plays. That's why they're getting crushed. If you take away the big plays, for example, versus the Raiders a couple weeks back, they only gave up like 3.5 yards a carry. But it was the big plays that obviously tilted the stats at the end of the day. So Christian McCaffrey looks very healthy. They're blocking for him. Over 17.5 yards, longest rush.
Yeah, I mean,
game script doesn't matter here either.
Yeah, and that's true too. Like maybe he gets banged up, or maybe TDP sees some time, whatever it is. You're right. Like he doesn't need anything crazy to happen for him to get something. Break off a nice little run there. Joe, what about you? Well, first off, Kenneth Walker. Do we think he plays? It seems like he's kind of coming back, but if he plays, I can't imagine he's 100%. That's a big reason why they've been struggling as well. Like he was such a huge part of that offense, such a fun guy to root for. What are your thoughts? If you had to lock in a bet right now, does Kenneth Walker play Thursday night?
I would say no.
Yeah.
And if he does play, it's so limited, or one knock to that ankle, you're out of the game again. So I would avoid, unless you're getting a full game number and you can take an under on Kenneth Walker, I would just avoid him altogether. I think this is a great game for chalky touchdown scores. I think there's value with McCaffrey, Aiyuk, Lockett, and Metcalf across the board. But I'm going to go with, based on, this is not going to be a shock based on what I've said about my expectations for this game, the Niners defense to score.
Okay, now we're talking.
5-1 anytime touchdown for the Niners defense to score. I think this is going to be dominant. It's going to be up to Gino Smith once again. The Seahawks can't run the football. The offensive line can't run block, and you're playing the best rushing defense in all of football. So you're going to be set up with 3rd and longs all day long. Nick Bosa is going to feast on Abe Lucas. Give me the Niners defense to score a touchdown. A thing that's an outcome that is a possibility on every single Seahawks offensive snap.
No, and you got, besides Geno Smith throwing a pick, you got some guys like Tony Jones and Travis Homer, guys who haven't handled the ball a ton. Like one of those guys fumbling the ball, scoop and score. You could easily see that happening. And what'd you say it's at? Like 550?
5-1.
Yeah, that's a really fun.
That's a good price.
Anytime
too.
touchdown.
I mean, typically,
especially for like to your point, the mismatch on the defensive side of the ball and 49ers' ability to take one to the house. And what's their safety's name? I always like
Bafanga.
I want to call him Fandango, but I always know that's wrong.
Oh, I love that name. And yeah, I mean,
no, he seems like a guy who he's always flying around the ball.
Elite defenses in a positive matchup are generally like 4.5, 4-1. So that's a great price.
For me, next up, Christian McCaffrey over 39.5 receiving yards. I just, again, with no Debo and with a limited skill set at quarterback, whether it be Brock or Josh, I think you're just going to give him a lot of easy stuff, a little check jet downs. Like, how many screens can they run in this game? I'm taking the over on all these. And McCaffrey could easily break one of these. 39.5 receiving yards feels super low.
4.5 is the catches.
Yeah.
What do you like more? Yardage?
Yeah, because they had him running downfield. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in like TDP or someone else in the backfield and then split McCaffrey out as like a receiver.
Oh. Sean did the celebration that Sean had last week when Purdy threw the touchdown to McCaffrey was unreal.
Yeah.
I knew it. I told you.
Well, I did do it. I did a DFS lineup where I had Brock Purdy because I kept touting Brock Purdy anytime touchdown. He's desperate. His family's there. His family, ironically, like didn't watch him when he was at Iowa State, and the only reason they were at the game was because they had already bought tickets to see the game with Tom Brady because they're Bay Area people and they were big Tom Brady fans. And then it happens to be their son is starting his first ever NFL game, so I guess they'll also root for him. But I knew he was going to put it in the end zone, and then I stacked him instead of a normal receiver. I went with Christian McCaffrey, and he caught that ball.
Did you win money on that lineup?
Oh yeah, that was nice. Nothing, not $200,000, but I did all right on that DFS line.
How about the Stones on Dre Greenlaw to have Tom Brady autograph his interception ball?
Oh my God! And
the
Tom
NFL
Brady
has gotten to a different place.
And Tom Brady, if you don't think Tom Brady has gotten any sort of plastic surgery done, I mean, he was clearly mad, and yet there was no expression. If you look at his eyebrows above, there was nothing moving when he was autographing. How do you not frown? Like, hey, come on, it's some sort of Botox or something's getting pulled back there because I would be so mad. It's insane that he did autograph it. They seemed like kids going up to him.
Well, of course they are.
Yeah, I remember growing up watching you. It's such a weird dynamic.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
That was the largest age delta between quarterbacks. And the first time a first-time starter has ever beaten Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What do you what else you like props-wise here, Joe?
I like Gino Smith over 15.5 rushing yards.
Oh, okay. Because I'll let's debate this because my last one was Geno Smith under rushing yards. My thought was that 49ers third best in the league, allowing rush yards to the quarterback, and Geno only had 2 last time. I'm guessing you think maybe he gets desperate and is facing some pressure, scrambles out.
I just think when you're going to spend every drop back running for your life,
inevitably you're
inevitably going to find your way to 15. You got 20 last week against Carolina. I think 15 is a modest number. He's fleet of foot enough to where he could get that on one play.
That's true.
I wouldn't anticipate it, but I do think when you are set up, if you're in a negative game script and you're facing second and third and long after second and third and long, eventually you're going to at least have to try to escape. Now, with the Niners' speed defensively, maybe that doesn't work, but I do think in a complete void of a running game otherwise, Geno Smith getting 15 seems very conceivable.
What do we love about Geno, Sean? He's showing dog qualities. What do dogs do when their back's against the wall?
Fight or flight.
I'm first downs.
I'm still sticking on the under.
Really?
I think. Well, yeah, because I think instead of scrambling, I think he's going to the front seven of San Francisco is pretty fast. I'm locking in on the under. I see the angle on the over. But Kramer, what do you got? What's your other?
All right,
prop?
my next prop over for Tyler Lockett on the receptions. They just played. Actually, what do you think? Receptions, receiving yards, because they played last time they played. It was 11 targets, I think 9 catches, 100 something yards, and San Francisco now deep into the season, they are comically bad against number 2 receivers, worst in the NFL according to DVOA. I think Tyler Lockett has a great game regardless of game script. Same kind of theme here. I think if they're having a great game, it's because Tyler Lockett is probably involved in the offense moving the ball. I think if they're down big, Tyler Lockett's going to have some opportunities to catch a lot of passes. So what do you think, receptions? The receiving yards is 62.5. The receptions is 5.5. 5.5 over, you get plus odds, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I go receiving yards.
Last time they played, 11 targets, 9 catches, 107 yards.
Yeah, I would go receiving yards. And is DK Metcalf what state of banged up is he?
I mean, he's a mutant, so I assume Joe will tell us he's going to play. He's going to be out there.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah. All right, so you're telling me yards? Over 60,
I would go yards.
Over 62.5 receiving yards.
I sort
Tyler
of view
Lockett.
DK and Tyler Lockett as like you could bet both.
Yeah?
Both yards and touchdown score. And at worst, you're hitting one out of two, unless the Seahawks just don't score a touchdown, which is very possible. But if, the Seahawks are going, they're a chalky touchdown scorer team.
Yeah.
This last couple weeks, it's been DK, it's been Tyler, it's been DK, it's been Tyler.
Tyler Lockett is plus 135 anytime. He's scored a touchdown in his last 6 games.
That's a hell of a streak. Who was what was the other receiver that was on? Oh, well, Jamal Williams. He's been like the insane touchdown streak guy who's just been
and
a
God
complete
bless
bucket.
Jamal Williams for expressing his sexuality. I know we're pro Goodell guys, but I don't like how they're clamping down on Jamal Williams' sexuality.
What do you mean?
Well, he can't dance in the end zone the way he wants to. He'd be free.
His crazy hip thrusting.
Although, I got to be honest, dude.
Again, I don't understand the TikTok trend, but it was like he faked an injury and then went down and they broke it down. His like fine per hip
Justin
thrust
Jefferson did
was
that like
2,000.
3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and I was like, oh God. But he was fine. It was like a thing. It's not cool enough.
I'm just saying, Jamal Williams got to be careful, but I do wish Goodell would loosen up on the reins.
Let Jamal thrust.
Free Jamal Williams.
What do you got? You got another prop for us, Joe?
Yeah, I like Brandon Aiyuk over 50.5.
Okay.
He's the big play guy. Without Debo, you expect volume to go up. I think they're going to be able to move him around enough to where he's not on Tariq Woolen all game long. I mean, quarterbacks are already just avoiding Tariq Woolen because he has been so good and the rest of the defense is so bad that they just avoid him and they can do just fine. Like, why challenge him? So I think Aiyuk over 50.5 of the Niners receivers. I think he's the one I have the most confidence in. George Kittle, not enough volume to go to 38.5. If anything, we'd be playing the under there. Juwan Jennings, an interesting 27.5. He's good for 3 third-down receptions every single game, it seems like.
And he's one of those guys, too, when you have a backup quarterback or even if Josh Johnson starts, the third-string guy, I always like to try and find some of the receivers deeper on the roster that may have some sort of chemistry. Like maybe they played some exhibition games together. So I do like going farther down the roster because they probably didn't get a ton of throws in training camp with the top receivers. So
yeah,
there's always value there.
I like Aiyuk over 50.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. Brandon Aiyuk does seem like he could have a game.
It's one of those things. It's always weird how he like shows up later in the season, but it does seem like he's at that point where he's their best offensive weapon on the outside.
Yeah, someone's got to fill in for Debo there.
I had another prop. I'm just gonna make my third prop Tyler Lockett anytime plus 135. That's an insane price. I'm double dipping on Tyler Lockett this weekend. He crushed him last time.
I hope so because I have some of those best ball drafts and Tyler
plus
Lockett's
135, man.
Yeah, plus
right,
odds on Tyler Lockett.
I was going to do Jordan Mason, but that felt cute. So let's do Tyler Lockett anytime.
All right, we're going to get our first touchdowns going. Before we do that, shout out to Babbel. That's right. You're looking to learn a new language? Of course you are. It's the holiday season. Give yourself a gift of learning a new language. Babbel is the language learning app that sold more than 10 million subscriptions. Addictively fun, easy, bite-sized language lessons. I was actually using Babbel at the airport today. The lady getting my coffee was speaking a bunch of Spanish, and then I said, "Me gustaría café negro," meaning I would like a black coffee. She nailed it. She also liked that I, was speaking Spanish to her. I'm sure if she could reduce the price of the $9 coffee at the airport, she would have done that because people like hearing you talk in their language. In Babbel, you only need 10 minutes to complete a lesson. You can start having real-life conversations
Gustaria.
like I did in a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Other language apps use AI. Babbel, they're crafted by real language experts. They got speech recognition technology, help you improve your pronunciation and accent, which is always something I struggle with. I don't have a great accent and struggle with pronunciation.
No, you don't.
But Babbel is here to help. Right now, you can get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/SGP. That's BABBEL.com/SGP for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. First touchdown.
What a promo read. That was incredible.
Now you're liking chalk. I call me a wet blackboard. I can't mess with chalk. So first touchdowns for me.
Never heard that before.
I just invented it.
That's
right?
awesome.
You're witnessing
Good line.
history.
I like that.
Yeah.
Kyle Juszczyk.
They don't use
Wet.
chalkboards anymore, just for the
Call
record.
me a wet blackboard. Nice. On fire.
Kyle Juszczyk at 25-1. They
Of course.
come on.
System play.
Fullback.
If fullback runs passing routes, Sean will play.
They involve him
said
in the
fullback.
game plan. Kyle Juszczyk is going to be a part of this game plan. Next up, whoever starts for San Francisco, their quarterback for a rushing touchdown. They are listing Brock Purdy right now at 25-1. I'm not going to bet it until I see, but again, he had a rushing touchdown last time. Him, Brock, and Josh Johnson, goal line stuff at 25-1 for a guy who isn't known not to be a running quarterback. Like there's some guys that just will never do the QB sneak. I think at 25-1 or whatever, Josh Johnson, if he ends up starting like that. Will Dissly on the other side, 25-1. He's still out targeting Noah Fant right now. Again, I know Joe likes the chalk, but Will Dissly won us a ton of money that first Monday night when we threw down. Got him at like 35-1. Maybe Will Dissly has a little primetime magic, and he gets the first touchdown. The other one that really jumped out at me, and in a weird way, I think this might be the chalky play, and I would actually bet this now, Tony Jones Jr. at 25-1. Like he's, it's going to be him and Travis Homer essentially kind of are the starting running back. So you're getting what could probably be the primary, at least pass-catching running back and maybe even a ball carrier.
He had one carry last week.
One carry. How many catches did he have? One carry?
Two targets.
2 targets. I think he gets more. Well, who do you...
System play.
Is it all going to be Travis Homer?
It was a week ago.
Okay. Well, here's what I'll say. Did they win the game? No. More Tony Jones Jr. looks. At 25-1, I like a little taste. Kramer, what do you got?
Give that man a little taste. All right. I will go both defenses. Seattle is 40-1. San Francisco is 25-1. Look, Joe likes the defense anytime, so obviously that's an easy angle. But, guys, we are talking about Brock Purdy or Josh Johnson. So 40-1 seemed aggressive there. I'm also going to throw in some chalk with Tyler Lockett at 850, 9-1. I'm going to give you Jordan Mason, 13-1. Ooh. I do think Shanahan needs to keep evolving his cuteness, and one of those things will be, what does the backfield look like when it's not Juszczyk or McCaffrey? Jordan Mason, 5 carries, 8 carries, 11 carries last week. So getting worked in more, I get it. They were greatly positive game scripts, but I'm going to throw Jordan Mason in there just as a shot in the dark. Because, God, McCaffrey at plus 425 isn't even fun.
No.
It is like a 13-point dog on a Sunday, but not as fun in these markets.
Yeah. And at least Shanahan, the first touchdown stuff to me is way more fun because he is more creative. Yeah. He's going to try and work guys in. There's a bit more of the unknown with no Debo in there as well. So it's a little bit more fun to play those. But, Joe, what do you –
Well, real quick, worth noting because I did hear some smart spreadsheet nerds out there say you can't beat the first touchdown market. The rake is too big. To that I say fuck
Listen
off.
to our show.
Fuck off. For example, Will Dissly, you know what Will Dissly opened as, Sean? What'd you give him out at? 25-1?
25-1 I'm seeing.
He opened up at 40-1.
Yeah. Well,
soft markets, they're beatable.
Yeah, you got to get these early, and probably if you like some of these, especially the longer shot stuff, it only gets bet down as someone like me goes, oh, Will Dissly, 25-1. I'll take a little.
They understand the systems. It's system play.
Tight ends, fullbacks, long shot stuff. What do you got, Joe? You're saying Seattle, they're on the straight and narrow. DK Metcalf, you like? Who else you got for first touchdown?
So if we're going to go down the system play narrative,
yes.
Revenge game, Marquise Goodwin against the Niners.
Oh, damn it. That actually is
27.5 receiving yards, I think, is a worthwhile prop. Last week, targeted 6 times, 5 catches, 95 yards, and a score.
Gino loves it.
He's found the end zone 4 times this year. And I think when you look at first touchdown, again, I do love the chalk. Aiyuk, McCaffrey, Lockett, Metcalf. I get it. Not fun. So can I interest you in Marquise Goodwin at 20?
Yes.
You know what? I'm changing my Lockett first touchdown to good. This is a great angle. We're a narrative show. This is the. How did we miss this, Sean? I'm glad we haven't done the pick.
You know
show
what?
yet.
Tony Jones Jr. Goodbye. Welcome, Marquise Goodwin Jr.
Wow, Joe. First time anyone has ever swayed both of us at the same time.
No, because
it is a system play. Well done.
And eye test Gino keeps going after this kid. And again, sign I'm getting older. I just keep referring to guys as this kid.
We're old. We're old. They're all
you
kids.
toss in the revenge narrative, and his touchdown percentage, it has been popping. So I really like that at 20-1.
I know
this is why we bring in a Seattle insider.
You audibly got aroused as he said that.
No, hey. You know,
I felt the arousal and the jealousy at the same time. Like it was a collection of mixed emotions from Sean of like, oh, that's good, and also, fuck Joe, I should have thought of that.
I know there's a device under here holding the desk up, but it felt like it got stronger for a moment.
It's just some Brock Hard Purdy. Hey, get your Brock. We have the Brock Hard Purdy shirts in the merch store. Go there, grab those. Store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com if you're a 49ers fan. Get those things.
They're perfect holiday gift.
Yeah, but great stocking stuffer. We do have holiday shirts as well. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeers. Great gift for the entire family. Don't let you could probably let the kids wear it because they don't really understand how deep the reference goes. So check that out. Joe, it's always fun getting to hang out in person. What else are you working on? I know you're on Twitter at Joe Fann, doing stuff for WynnBet, doing stuff for Seattle sports.
Are we not doing a Build-A-Bet?
Oh my God, I completely forgot.
He's so flustered by Marquise Goodwin.
He's ending the show, and I'm like, well, wait a second. I know we want to hear about what Joe's up to.
Flustered by Marquise Goodwin.
All right, I completely. You know what it was?
Sean sending his kids to school with Brock Hard Purdy shirts.
I immediately.
Oh boy! Explain yourself.
You triggered something in my brain, a synapse that was like created urgency to end the show so that I can walk over to the Wynn book and get that bet in. And everything I had tunnel vision there, Joe. So I forgot to bring up the Wynn
instinctual reaction. I like that.
The Wynn build your own bet. Kramer, I'll let you kick things off. What do you got cooking over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet?
This one felt relaxed, easy, and again, it's only 11-1. But Sean, that's like a 26.5 point dog on a Saturday. So we're gonna do Lockett over 90. Lockett scores a touchdown. McCaffrey scores a touchdown. McCaffrey over 35 receiving yards. That's all.
Easy enough.
Basic ass. Player parlay, aka Build-A-Bet. Still waiting on those yellow hard hats. You're missing out on an opportunity.
Come on, guys, send those over.
SGP on the front, WynnBet on the side, yellow hard hat. Let's go.
We're putting in work. What do you got? What do you got, Joe?
Chalky play here. Niners alt line -9.5. Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Aiyuk each to score a touchdown. 7-1.
Oh wow. Okay.
Hold on. I might need to.
Yeah, write that one down as well, Ryan. Okay. This being a D-Gens only play, for me, and again, wait until the quarterback is announced, but Brock Purdy, anytime touchdown. Kyle Juszczyk, anytime touchdown. 40-1. Let's go. I also like, as a side, I didn't give it out in the props, but I will give it out now.
Wow.
Christian McCaffrey to have over 100 receiving yards, that is 10-1. I think there's a world where he becomes like the number one receiver for the team. So I like that one as well. But the Juszczyk Purdy anytime touchdown parlay is really fun, and get that.
As you continue to give DGen only bets, have you told your listeners what you're doing this afternoon?
Oh yes, I don't think I've announced it yet.
We're worried that it might not happen.
I will.
It feels a little bit like Sean not wanting to talk about his DraftKings win until the money entered the bank account.
Yeah,
because something could go wrong.
I'm scheduled to tape a talk show, which you would never guess. And actually, we'll do this. If anyone can guess the talk show I'm going to be taping here in a couple hours,
yes,
tweet us at Gambling Podcast. If you nail it, you will get a $100 SGPN gift card. There's no way you're going to be able to guess it. But I'm going to say
someone will.
Big time national TV. Like any clues?
It's a
no.
Everyone has heard of this show.
Oh,
everyone
all right.
you know. Like, when you go home for Christmas, everyone you know has heard of this show.
Getting that quick.
So toss it in there at Gambling Podcast. I don't want to actually reveal it because I think there's like an 80% chance I get edited out of the show. I'm slightly paranoid about it. So, and it's going to be really hilarious when we reveal the show.
Oh, I can't wait.
I will be appearing on.
I cannot wait.
All right. Oh, man.
Proud of you, man.
So much.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Joe.
You're gonna crush it.
And you were also on that show. So that's, if you want to dig deep, maybe you can find when Joe was on the show as well.
The social team's gonna have to do a little side. Hopefully, we can do maybe a little side by side for
that'll
TikTok.
Be great. I can't wait.
Just dub in your picks audio from this show.
I wonder if you can Google that.
Man, awesome time as always,
Yeah.
Joe. At Joe Fann, give him a follow. Appreciate you coming in, Joe. And what do you got going on? What should be people checking you out?
Yeah, doing some betting content at WynnBet, and then doing some work for Seattle sports, radio hits, written stuff. So certainly this is going to be a game on Thursday. I'm excited to watch on Twitter at Joe_Fan. The damn underscores. Someday I'll be at Joe Fan, but I got to kill that guy first.
I will say, if you want some possibly a little negative Seattle Seahawks takes, sometimes. I see they get in the mentions. They're like, "Fuck you, man."
Oh,
and you're like, "I'm just being honest."
I think I'm a pretty polarizing figure.
The soccer mom myth is true from the Pacific Northwest. They just love their team. Huh?
People are intense. Yeah. And that's okay, Better to feel something than nothing at all.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking to an Eagles fan. He understands.
And we are completely hot and cold with the team and with the beat reporters. When Joe said he was a polarizing figure, I immediately thought of your Philadelphia Eagles counterpart. I go, oh, okay, I get it. He's like this guy in the Eagles beat. So has some good takes. You like it, and then when he's shitting on the team, you're like, that son of a bitch.
But it's always something that you had like just said, like, God, this team sucks. And like I would write like, this team sucks. Like, no. It's like only I can say that about my team. You're not allowed to.
Don't say it publicly, dude.
Yes, it is. It is a very like.
What team are you on?
I can make fun of the team, but it's like making fun of a family member. I can shit on my brother, but when some jabron shits on him, then you get really.
And I am not jabron.
I gotta show you that there's an Eagles beat reporter that I think that people really like. Hosts a very good podcast, but then also like.
He's too real.
Well, his takes are like scorching hot, and he has some really bad takes at times, but some really good ones. Oh, wow. He goes nuclear.
The compliment started off well, kind of ended poorly.
No, it's a problem with covering a team. Eventually, you're gonna piss off the fans. Yeah. Like, there's no way you can criticize or be honest about the team and not.
I understand.
Upset
I have to deal with Pat Leonard. Fucking guy's the worst.
All right, Joe. Appreciate you as always. Fun hanging out here.
Yeah.
At the Blue Wire Studios.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Toss us a nice rating review on the Apple Podcast. Come on, it's the holidays. Give back. Give us a rating and review. We always appreciate that. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green, and he is Ryan.
I think Joe just talked us into the Niners on Thursday Night Football.
Kramer. Seahawks somehow win by 2 touchdowns.
Let it ride.